see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Oh, it's been a rough one, guys. Good morning. Today is March 10th, 2025, and welcome to episode 829 of the Lost Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything's always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying an FTO Blonde Espresso from foodforestfarms.com, where you get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club and all the other single origin and blend coffees Brian whips up over at foodforestfarms.com. Check it out today. Today, I'm going to be talking about some recent observations on the political landscape, and hopefully that'll be enough of that for a while. Something new to look forward to for me from a show we've been watching on Amazon. People Will Steal Anything. I looked into a little bit of a heist that happened not too long ago and a little bit more. But first, let's head over to the live chat, see who's hanging out over there, and we'll get things rolling for the day. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, it's been a rough one this morning. I'll tell you, it's I don't know if it's daylight savings. I don't know what it is. It's bullshit. All of it. I won't be able to take any zaps today. If you're watching over on Noster, if you slide in over there, I'll try to mention it again if anybody says they can't. But it appears my Albi hub shut down last night when my computer restarted all of a sudden for some reason after months of it not restarting. All of a sudden last night it chose to do a upgrade and a restart. And I'm trying to figure out what all changed. But I did notice right as I was hitting go that Albi Hub is not up and going, and I don't have my login information out and available, so that's just going to have to wait. Oh, well. Good morning over in the chat. Rewilder Life. Good morning. Oh, it's dark out. Stupid time change. Yes. Time change. We'll talk about that a little bit today. Good morning, John Palmer. Good day and good week to you. Also, Mike's Homestead. Thanks for stopping in. Hunter over on Twitch. Good morning to you. Rewilder Life says coughing over here too early for honey and whiskey. I don't know if it's ever too early for honey and whiskey together, but it is what it is. Hope you're gonna make it through all right. Yeah. Daylight savings, man. It just blows my mind. I just did a search real quick, and maybe we'll talk about it real quick before we get into anything. But why we started daylight savings and why we still use it. Looks like it was first proposed in it was first proposed by Benjamin Franklin in 1784 as a joke to save candles. Yeah, that's about right. It's a big joke. It was first seriously proposed in 1895 by George Hudson, entomologist who wanted more daylight for bug hunting. It was first adopted in World War I in 1916 by Germany, then other countries to conserve energy by reducing artificial lighting and fuel use. Thanks, Nazis. Thanks. It's all a Nazi thing, it looks like. Oh, wait, World War I. Those weren't the Nazis. World War II, again, it was adopted and then it became standardized in the United States in 1966 with the Uniform Time Act. Why, we're not sure in 1966. Why we still use it, usually it's been meant to save energy, but modern studies show it has minimal impact. More daylight in the evening benefits retailers, outdoor businesses, and recreation. Yeah. Some studies suggest fewer traffic accidents with more daylight in the evening. Still used by most of North America and Europe through some places have abolished it. Arizona, Hawaii, and many countries. Let's get rid of it. There's no good reason on this list why we still use it. To save energy. It doesn't save energy. more daylight in the evening. Who fucking cares? Get up earlier and go to bed earlier. Fewer traffic accidents. I think that's probably bullshit. And yeah, some people have already gotten rid of it. I think we should follow path across the board. What's the point? Twice a year, change the fucking time. Everybody gets all out of whack. And maybe that's what it's about. Yeah, why people want to get rid of it. Disrupts sleep cycles. Annoying and unnecessary. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, that's my little take on daylight savings. It sucks, and there's no good reason to be doing it. Need the coffee. So it's actually 5 o'clock, I think. Is that how the time change goes? Corey and I watched Slam and Salmon the other night just because of the time change. If you don't know the correlation between that, you should really definitely check out the movie Slam and Salmon. It's from the same folks as Super Troopers, Super Troopers 2, and a few others, but there's a main storyline through the movie that runs along daylight savings, but it's the other one. It's the fall where they were gaining an hour, but that runs throughout the movie. So every time daylight savings pops up, Corey and I are drawn to the Slam and Salmon. So definitely check that out if you have never done that. First thing on my list I had today, I don't even know if daylight savings was on there, but it was just been on my mind. Is it's probably going to be the last bit of politics I'm going to try to engage in, and it's not even going to be that deep into politics, but it's something that's been needling me for a while since the election here. It's hard to stay out of the bullshit in this country, especially leading up to an election, right after election, a transition of power, and I think that's the point. But I've seen a lot of people getting really excited about the Orange Man and his policies and the things he's going to do. And I hear a few excuses that are the same lines of excuses. You got to give it time. You got to wait, blah, 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 blah. I sat down and really just thought about it for a while this weekend. Looked at it, thought about it, explored my where I've come to stand on the whole thing, and I feel like it is another go around of the same thing. It really it's shaping up to be. It's shaping up to be. Now, I'm saying all this with the hope that I'm wrong. I hope the guy is the one in a million, the guy that's going to come in and actually change things for the better, make government smaller, cut spending, cut taxes, blah, blah, blah down the road. But I've been punched in the face enough to know that when a fist is coming at you, that's where it's going to land, and politicians don't change. It really is starting to parallel the last time he was around, and I really haven't had anybody give me a good explanation why this time with the Orange Man is going to be any different than the last time with the Orange Man. And instead of the Epstein list and blah, 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 we're going to do this. Oh, I think it was, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to put Hillary in jail. All the things that were promised. And, he started out good. He let Ross Ulbricht out of jail, which was a promise that he made. But I don't know if that solidifies that this is going to be any different than any other time around. Lots of big promises, lots of changes going on, lots of bravado, and lots of starting to do things. And I think we're going to quickly find out that he can't do the things that he's saying he's going to do unless we completely change our form of government, which could be good or could be bad in the end. I don't know. But he really doesn't have the authority on his own to do the things he wants to do. there's a reason for that. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of people that were very anti-government in general, not R's and D's, not left and right, not red and blue, anti-government because it's bullshit, because it overreaches, because it's about the most evil organization that you can find. People that were anti-government now getting on board with the Orange Man. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm just saying there's some things that look good, but will they end up coming to fruition? I'm not sure. So I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over seeing all his nonsense and all his, like I said, bravado is the thing that comes to mind with him. It's just, yeah, I got to be done with it. So anyway, I just saw an observation. I just made an observation. I thought I put it in my notes that there's been a lot of, I don't want to say change in principles, but change in principles with some people. So I don't know. We'll see. Big shift in power, big change of power. There's always a shakeup, and we'll see how things fall out in the future. But until something actually happens, until something really actually happens, I don't think there's much to get excited about. We got Elon running around exposing waste, but really in the end, are these things that they even have the power to change? I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, enough of that shit. One thing we've been watching. Watched a series on Prime. We finished it up, and when we had to find something else, we wanted to Rewild Life says it's probably going to be the same old thing. Yeah, I can't see it being any different. The rhetoric changes, the actions stay the same. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Isn't that a big old famous quote? Corey and I were watching a series. She called it My Show, I guess. We're watching a series on Prime. Kind of got sucked into it. It wasn't the best TV series ever in the world, I'll tell you that. But it did have some action and a decent enough storyline. But it was called Animal Kingdom. I think it was on TNT. No, it wasn't about animals. It wasn't about jungle or anything. It was about burglars, really. Criminals. It was good. It was pretty good. It was like 6 seasons, dozen or so episodes in each season, and we watched it over a period of time, but it was coming to an end. And Corey usually slept through most of it. Like, we'd watch it in the evening right before we go to bed, and she would fall asleep, and the show was coming to an end, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to watch after that for our evening relax time. And so we started watching we had 2 different shows on the list. One was called How the Earth Was Made. It was a docuseries about I don't know, we're not quite through of it. I think we've watched 6 or 7 episodes. It's about how the earth was formed over billions of years, and the different things that happen. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. And then we also saw a new, I think it was made by Amazon, actually, called The Sticky. It was it was loosely based on a possibly true event, is what I think it said. It was about the maple syrup heist in Quebec about 15 years ago. 10, 12, 15 years ago. Looks like I think it was 2011, 2012 when it happened. But that was a quick one. That was only 6 episodes. They were only half an hour long. So over a few nights, we watched that. We watched it. completed it. It was interesting, and it was interesting enough that I went and looked into the great maple syrup heist. And right on cue, Canadian Farmstead, good morning. Wow. I don't know. Were you sitting around waiting until I started talking about maple syrup and then you just dropped in? Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. Thank you for being here. Anyway, there was a great maple syrup heist. Let me pull up my notes here, and so I don't mess this up. The great maple syrup heist in Quebec. So how it all Farmstead said he was out tapping a tree. So what happened here with the great maple syrup heist, and Rewilded Life is upset she's not tapping the trees this year. That's I hope this isn't going to make you upset, but anyway, it sounds like up in Quebec, maple syrup is a thing. It is a big thing, and they formed this Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers, the FPAQ. This basically controls the maple syrup in Quebec like drugs. The cartels do. The cartels play with drugs. The FPAQ plays with maple syrup, and they distribute it, they collect it, they distribute it from all the sugar shacks. Would be in the sugar shack or the syrup producers. I don't even know what a individual syrup producer is called. So wait. Real Life says it's a big thing here too. I'm just gonna have to drop $500 on a 5-gallon bucket of raw honey. Oh, for sweetener. Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, the FPAQ up in Quebec basically takes in all the maple syrup. They distribute it. They control the price. Blah 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 blah. It looks like back in 2011, between 2011 and 2012, John Palmer says the MS-13 of Canada. Yeah, the maple syrup 13, maple syrup 13 of Canada. It looks like back in now these numbers just absolutely blow my mind. Back in 2011, between 2011 and 2012, there was a theft that involved nearly 3,000 tons of maple syrup. 3,000 tons. So a ton is what, 2,000 pounds? And 3,000 tons. Was that like 60,000 pounds? That's a truckload. Like literally. What's isn't that it would be about a tanker load, John Palmer? From the show, I learned that water is slightly lighter than water. So water is slightly lighter than syrup. Yes. So you got to think a little heavier, and it must be a tanker load is around 60,000 pounds, I think, like a liquid tanker full of water or milk or some close in weight substance. I think those hold 40 to 60,000 pounds. I could be wrong. Been a while since I've been in the truck loading business. But anyway, 3,000 tons of maple syrup, and I believe Rewild Their Life says there's a TV series on this. Yeah, it's called The Sticky, and it's very loosely based on this. We just got done watching it, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Anyway, they stole 3,000 tons of maple syrup, worth $18 million Canadian. 18 million Canadian dollars, 6,000 tons or 3,000 tons. We're looking at $6 million a ton for maple syrup. Is what they valued it at. How they did it is they siphoned the syrup out of the barrels. It was being stored in barrels in a warehouse. They siphoned the syrup out of the barrels and then refilled the empty barrels with water. So they sucked out the syrup, put it in a truck, and then to stave off suspicion, they refilled the barrels, which was smart to buy them a little time, I guess. So they put water back in. I don't know if they counterbalanced for the weight in the TV show. They did. They dropped some chains. I think it was 2 pounds or so per barrel difference. So they were dropping like chains in the barrels to check that weight to make them even. It sounds like they were discovered by a routine inventory check in July 2012 that they noticed the barrels were light. So that must mean they didn't compensate. So that was a change in the show, in the TV show, the made-for-TV show. John Palmer says, by the way, that's 6 million pounds. Oh, it is. You're right. Thanks. I definitely need some coffee. So how many? Let's think about this for a second. 6 million pounds of liquid. That's got to be. John Palmer says empty truck. An empty truck weight is 25K to 35K roughly. What is what's like the not that the guys stealing maple syrup are really going to be concerned with DOT laws unless they're worried about going through a weigh station. But what is like the max capacity for a roadworthy truck that isn't going to need an oversized load, overweight load permitting, things like that? If we're gonna fill up a milk tanker full of maple syrup, how much could we put in weight wise before we were overweight? Is that 60,000 pounds? Is that 80,000 pounds? 100,000 pounds? About 200 truckloads. John Palmer says that's about 200 truckloads. Okay. So they did a stroke of business here. In the TV show on Amazon, if you're looking to watch it, spoiler alert, they used one truck and they didn't really get away with 18 million Canadian dollars worth. It was way less than that, but anyway, so that's how they did it. They siphoned the 80,000 is legal in the United States. So with the exchange rate, Canadians could probably do like 110. Is that how that works? And then we gotta do the conversion to kilograms. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of truckloads of maple syrup that they were in and out of there. So I don't know. It looks like they discovered it in a routine inventory check. Like I said, revealed the barrels were too light, and it turns out a group led by Richard Valeries. He was the dude that sold the syrup on the black market. They ended up being arrested, and several folks were arrested and convicted. And the leader there, Richard, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison and fined over $9 million. $9 million. Was it worth it? Why it happened. Here is the summary of the notes for me that were printed out. Why this happened. Quebec's syrup industry is tightly regulated, leading to a lucrative black market for those looking to bypass the FPAQ's strict quotas and pricing controls. It's often called the maple syrup equivalent of an Ocean 11's heist due to its scale and clever methods used. Those fuckers are sitting up there in the winter all hopped up on Labatt's and maple syrup and came up with an idea to steal it. And it worked to get it out of there, but they must not have covered their tracks. They had sticky fingers. But anyway, I was surprised. I was surprised that that was the actual truth, that that the show that we came across, it was a comedy. It was I don't know. Our comedy's supposed to be funny because it had a few funny parts, but I didn't think that it was actually true, that somebody actually stole that much maple syrup. And how do you get rid of what is the so hold on one second. How many, we're gonna get answers here. I'm wondering how many gallons of maple syrup is 3,000 tons. Because I'm curious how you would get rid of that amount of maple syrup. Okay, 3,000 tons of stolen maple syrup, specifically stolen maple syrup. This might be different for legit maple syrup. 3,000 tons of stolen maple syrup is approximately 545,455 gallons. So over 500,000 gallons of maple syrup. Where do you get rid of 500,000 gallons of maple syrup? And I'm wondering if this is why they got caught. Because you can steal all the stuff in the world if you have no way to get rid of it, if you don't have a good fence. And I learned this from that other show we watched, the Animal Kingdom. You need a good fence, or you have to be willing to sit on the product you steal. 500,000 gallons of liquid in the first place, being out of the wastewater and oil backgrounds, that's a lot of liquid. 545,000 gallons is a lot of liquid. So you got to hold that, and then you got to distribute 500,000 gallons of maple syrup. Hunter says, how long did it go the heist? Is that voice to text? Because I'm not sure if you're asking how long ago it happened. Oh, Hunter says, was it all in 1 year? Did they only find it in 1 year and it's been going on for a decade? From what I understand, it was like a one-time deal. They said they stole it sometime between 2011 and 2012, and it was found in their inventory check in 2012. So I'm guessing they do an inventory check yearly. And this is pure speculation, but they probably do an inventory check every year. After the influx from the gathering of the maple syrup from the trees, and then re-inventory the next year on a cycle. And I think they found it in 2012. That's not saying that some dumb fuck in 2011 didn't mess up the inventory, or maybe they had somebody on the inside. So it might have been over a series of years, but still, we're talking over 500,000 gallons of maple syrup. Like, seriously, who's buying that? Rewilder Life says the cartel. Is there enough margin in maple syrup to make the cartel involvement there? And how much of a deal are they getting on maple syrup that they're able to flip like, where were they flipping this 500,000? Were they distributing it to like little side of the road maple syrup stands, where these guys are like, hey, my trees didn't put out too much this year, you got a couple barrels I could put into these jars and sell it, I'll give you a kickback on it? Like, who is liquidating 500,000 gallons of maple syrup? The more I think about this whole thing, the more I think they were brilliant on how they stole it. I don't know if the execution on the back end was as good, and likely why they got caught so quickly. Chris Dixon says that's weird. Where did this extra 500,000 gallons of stuff come from? Oh, it was back here behind the water heater. Yeah, and I imagine being in the food business, they're any producer is going to have records. How many trees does it take to produce 500,000 gallons? Rachel, when you were doing your trees in Michigan, how many trees were you tapping, and how much would you get? Canadian Farmstead, I don't know if you tap trees and make syrup also. I'm curious how much, because this was the boiled down syrup. This wasn't even sap. So this was the processed end product with the water gone. $40-1. Right, 40-1 when you boil it down. So they would have needed 500,000 times 40. That's a lot of fucking syrup. Canadian Farmstead said if you had connections at a few medium-sized producers, you could move that no problem. Really? You could like blend it in with their output? Is that how you would do it? Canadian Farmstead, if you were to steal, hypothetically, if you were to steal 500,000 gallons of maple syrup, how would you fence it? How would you get rid of it? I don't think I would. I don't think that's something that I would be involved in. I don't know. I don't know the industry enough, but these are probably insiders that were stealing this. So hypothetically, for sure. So maple syrup, I guess, that was in 2011, and these are 2011 prices, folks. 2011, 2012 prices. I mean, with inflation and whatnot, I have to believe that that's worth a lot more now. A few medium-sized producers. What is considered a medium-sized producer? Canadian Farmstead, like in Canada, because I'm guessing it's different. Maybe it's not as different in like the Northeast, but a medium-sized producer, how much are you saying they produce in a year? And it's like a one-shot deal, isn't it? Like you sell your syrup all at once, or you make it all at once. There's a short window where you're drawing that sap. Do they sell it all year round? So could you filter it out? Could you distribute this out over the course of a year? Or is it like we have to steal this and we need to get it flushed into the new product today? I'm going to have to think more on this. So that was one rabbit hole I went down because of the sticky on Amazon. Is it worth it? It's okay. It's kind of funny. The actress Jamie Lee Curtis is in it for a little bit. I think she was the director and producer and all that shit. She was in it for a little bit. Some of it's in French. I don't know. It's in Quebec, so it is what it is. watch an episode. If it's your deal, you'll know in the first episode. It was kind of funny. But it was loosely based on this heist. So not really a documentary. Canadian Farm says you could probably sell it to the maple candy and the maple sugar makers. Of course you could. Of course you have multiple outlets for 500,000 gallons of stolen maple syrup in Canada. Jesus Christ. Tom Palmer says the sticky sounds like a sweet show. I don't know, that maple syrup, they called it the association in the show, but the Quebec maple syrup producers thing is that's kind of a sketchy deal. Just because the product is legal doesn't mean that the cartel isn't as bad as the drug cartels. Because man, what a shady deal they got going on with the maple syrup producers. And I mean, it is free market 101. When you put market controls and outside forces into a market, black markets will appear. There we go. We got economics in a nutshell right here on the Lots Project Morning Show, talking about maple syrup, the great maple syrup heist of the great Canadian maple syrup heist. Excuse me. Canadian Farmstead says the mob has been fairly active in Quebec. I mean, they've been fairly active everywhere. You just need to see what they got. They must have figured that was the cash crop to go for. You know, Colombia has cocoa and booger sugar, eventually booger sugar. I guess Canada, Quebec has maple trees and eventually maple syrup, and it gets people high both ways. Just a little different. It's the same but different, man. Other show that I started watching that is really giving me a kind of a new thing to live for. Really, not that I needed it. Canadian Farmstead says he prefers mouth sugar over booger sugar. I have plenty to live for with my beautiful bride, our upcoming adventure here with DG. But we started watching a new show called How the Earth Was Made. I think that's the exact title, How the Earth Was Made. Basically, it's like a National Geographic Explorer kind of thing. I'm not sure who made it. Couple seasons worth. It is not the best documentary I've ever seen. Let's just preface it with it isn't the best. There's a lot of things I'm learning a lot of things from it. There's a lot of information in there that I either have learned and it's just kind of drifted off and hadn't thought about it a long time. But there's also a lot of new stuff in this that I'm picking up, and it's really caught my interest. Corey falls asleep as soon as it comes on. I don't know if she really gives two flying fucks about it, but it's interesting. So they've been talking about things like the San Andreas Fault, the Mariana Trench, the let's see what else was on there. Oh, Krakatoa. Corey found that. She giggled like a little schoolgirl for I don't know, what was that, a day? She was giggling about Krakatoa. They talked about Yellowstone. They talked about New York, the Great Lakes. These are the episodes I've seen so far. But basically, it all revolves around tectonic plates, the movements of the plates in the earth, and volcanoes, earthquakes, and the like. And they describe these catastrophic events. One they described that really intrigued me was Krakatoa when it basically blew itself off the map. And the fallout from that. And the one thing that really hooked me is it was called pyroclastic flow. Basically, this is what preserved Pompeii when Vesuvius erupted. And pyroclastic flow, what that is when a volcano erupts, and you see the classic videos or replica or I don't know what the word would be, replicas or reenactments of volcanoes exploding, and you have the magma and the lava coming out and the rocks shooting out the top and the smoke and the gases, and then you see like a cloud billow out and roll down the sides of the cone of the volcano, and it like kind of billows out like it billows across the ground. And it rolls at like 100 to 200 miles an hour across the ground, and across water is even worse, because they were talking about Krakatoa, and if you know where that is, if you know anything about it, it's like in the middle of a strait, and then you have Java and Sumatra, and basically when it exploded, this pyroclastic flow glided across the top of the water 20 miles like instantly, in a, like, you wouldn't have had time to realize that the volcano exploded. Basically you were in your hut, and this was in the 1800s in Indonesia, so it wasn't really advanced civilization. They said you would have heard or felt the explosion, basically had enough time to go, I wonder what that was. Get yourself out of your hut or stop what you were doing and look towards the volcano, and you would have been consumed by this pyroclastic flow. It is basically extremely hot gases, dust, debris, everything from the volcano is like riding this push of gas, and the difference in temperatures and the difference in densities and everything let it just slide across the top. Basically 1 to 2 breaths and your whole inside is melted, and then it encases you in this dust, and it almost preserves the whole thing. So you see, like at Pompeii, you see these people that are like doing whatever they were doing. In the middle of whatever they were doing, they were just encased and done. This is how that happened. So that interests me. Krakatoa basically being 3 islands, and then in a matter of hours being nothing, being gone. It blew itself up. They talked about how the Great Lakes were formed with both volcanoes and glaciers, and it's been very interesting. But the thing that's really intrigued me the most is the timelines on these huge events. Huge events. Catastrophic events. Maybe not worldwide catastrophic, a lot of them are, but the smaller, the localized catastrophic events like Krakatoa, like the earthquake in San Francisco in the 1800s. They're cyclical, and they're finding out that they're very cyclical. It's Rewilder Life says going to need to find that. I know someone with a doctorate in volcanoes. Maybe it's magma. Well, I know from this show that magma is what it's called when it's inside the ground, and lava is what it's called after it's spit out of the hole. Yeah, so I probably knew that when I was a kid, but I relearned it now. But anyway, these catastrophic events, the timelines on these billions of years, hundreds of millions of years, but they're very cyclical. They've understood, and this is all theory, guys. It might not be right, but this is what they're presenting as truth. Tectonic plate tectonic plate movement. Basically, when the two plates come together, there's a thing called subversion where one plate goes under the other plate. And for a long time, they thought that the plates were pushing against each other. And that's how this was happening. Like the plates were going along and they collide and one goes underneath. What they've ended up finding, possibly, and this is all theory, I'm pretty sure, like they haven't really proven this. Maybe they have. Is the plates come across and the subversion happens, but it's actually pulling the plate down underneath. So as the plates are coming across and they're being this plate is being drawn underneath it, it's actually getting pulled down in here because this is a heavier plate. And with the magma underneath, which is starting to liquidize, turn it into magma, melt it, whatever, it's actually drawing that plate in. So instead of it being pushed, it's actually being pulled down. And then at the back end, where it's coming apart, there's also volcanoes pushing lava up in between the crack that's being pulled apart, and it's just filling in. So it's basically like a big conveyor belt, and the magma is liquid enough to come back and fill in the gaps. Now there's all sorts of weird, interesting pressure dynamics and things when this subversion happens, and they figured out like the Mariana Trench is where this is happening. The Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, the deepest point on Earth, it's a subversion. It's caused by this, where the one plate, the Pacific plate, is going under another plate. They've determined that because of the distance between where they're touching and where volcanoes are, they realize the plate's going down, it's getting melted down here, and then it's reappearing at a known distance away. It's fascinating. Now, what they've come to conclude is for every so often that the plate moves, it's developing enough pressure to have one of these enormous eruptions. Cyclical, but cyclical within, a couple thousand years. Now our lifespan here is what, 70 years on average, give or take. Ruala Life says, so it's not the Giants awakening. Now I can fit giants into this. I can fit giants into this this thing here. But anyway, they've determined that these events are cyclical within a few thousand years, within a few million years, but they're saying it happens every 1.6 million years, give or take, 100,000 years either way. We're here with Hunter says we're up to 73 years average nowadays. Okay, so 73. It's basically like a roll of the dice that in any one human's lifetime, one of these catastrophic events would happen. Now you gotta say, you got 1,000 lifetimes, 1,000 generations, because the generations overlap. So maybe even like 1,500 generations of people, maybe you're going to have one of these events happen. But what if? And we're bound and ready, man. We are wound up and ready for another San Andreas fault, major earthquake, like San Francisco. Hunter says my buddy's event is Yellowstone. We are due. We're actually overdue for a Yellowstone eruption. And the Yellowstone eruption was really cool. The Yellowstone is the one we watched last night, where the Yellowstone volcano, the hot spot that is under Yellowstone, basically, if you go throughout the Southwest, it has erupted before. and there's a straight line of previous cauldrons, the crater where the volcano has erupted, every million years, or it was 1.6 million years, I believe. There's another eruption spot, and they make a straight line. And the geologists were trying to figure out why the hot spot in the earth was moving, the magma flow underneath, why it was moving in this straight line along the plate. And then all of a sudden it came together that the hot spot wasn't moving, the plate was moving. So these things have moved like over 300 miles in a straight line. And right now it's sitting under Yellowstone Park, where all the geysers are and all of the hot pools and things like that. Obviously, that's being heated by magma underneath. But we're right in that. We're right in the time frame for that to go again. And then, as history shows, as the history of the actual Earth shows, it'll pop off. It'll be disastrous. Like they find ash. They have found ash from the hot spot that's under Yellowstone. The last time that exploded, they found ash in Mexico, all over the Southwest. It's huge. The plume and the places where it's actually measurably thick were amazing to me. Like it would be an absolute shit show if this happened. But what a time to live, right? Like we've all, if you're in this audience, you've thought about shit hits the fan situations. The cauldron, the hot spot under Yellowstone ripping off would be definitely one of them. But I've thought about, and this is, it sounds weird and sadistic, really. I kind of want to be alive for one of these catastrophic events. Not because of the death. I don't want to see a shitload of people die and suffer and all of that, but just the sheer magnitude of these world changers. Like I think being able to experience something like that, and maybe not even in the affected zone. I mean, we'll all be affected. It'll be a worldwide event, but to observe the power of it, the sheer force of it. We've seen little blips in our lifetime, like the San Francisco earthquake that we were alive for, Fukushima, tsunamis in Indonesia. The flooding in North Carolina is getting a little on the higher end of the disaster stuff. We've seen little blips of this, but nothing that I could remember was even close to what this would be like. It's interesting. Another one was the hurricane, how New York City was formed. Not the city, not built, but long before there were buildings there, how it was formed. And with New York Harbor and the entrance to New York Harbor and Long Island being at a right angle to the Atlantic Ocean, out here, I'm going to have to do this backwards. So this is Long Island and New York City is here. I can't do it. Basically, New York Harbor, if a hurricane actually came up the coast and hit New York City, which it has in the past, not our past, but not our rememberable past, but Long Island actually, being at a right angle, would funnel that hurricane and funnel the storm surge. Maybe what was the one that Sandy, was that hurricane or tropical storm Sandy that did all the damage in New York City, where it was a tropical storm, it wasn't even a hurricane, and it was just a disaster, a nightmare for them. They were saying if a hurricane hit New York City and the storm surge got pushed into New York Harbor through the straits there, or under the Verrazano Bridge, it would be lights out. It would just be catastrophic. New York City would be underwater. It really makes all the early 2000s disaster movies, it makes them come true. Like The Day After Tomorrow, where was that the one where everything froze all of a sudden? 2020, where Yellowstone, was that 2020? 2020 with Woody Harrelson and John Cusack, was that the one where Woody Harrelson was the radio guy in the RV in Yellowstone waiting for it to explode? These things would look accurate, if not mild, compared to what would actually happen, according to the documentary I'm watching. It's interesting. I'd be interested to see it. Like I said, I don't want to see people die. That's not my interest, not the gore, not the death and all of that. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But just observing the sheer force and magnitude of what happened, not being told, like being able to witness it, seeing video, seeing things from that area, I think it would be fascinating. It really would, and understanding how it happened. But that how the Earth was made, I believe, is the name of the documentary. It's on Amazon right now. I think it's 2 seasons. I think it's 2 seasons long. I don't know what the next season is about. I'm still on the first season, but these have all been basically earthquake and volcano related. And every episode is based in tectonic plate movement. Why these things are made, and they take one region an episode and they walk through it. The Great Lakes was an interesting one. Yeah, you have to check it out. It's fascinating, taking me back to my earth science days and why I remember really, really liking that subject in school. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend that one if you're looking something to pique interest and watch. And like I said, it's not the best documentary I've ever seen. I don't think they had some high-end director making it, and it has this weird thing. I think it was probably because it was on normal TV at one point and it had standard commercial breaks, but they do this weird thing with these slides that come on TV or come on the screen, and they recap the section after they just talked about it. So I have a feeling that it was going into commercial break or coming out of commercial break, but there's no commercial there anymore. So it just kind of runs together and it gets kind of weird. And then they put a commercial in another spot on Amazon like they always do. It was interesting. What else do I have on the list here? Bitcoin, guys. We're green. That doesn't mean it's up that much. Basically, 83,500 on the price of one Bitcoin at the moment. Is it done dropping? I doubt it. Am I worried? Am I selling all my Bitcoin? No. Should you? Probably not. Is that financial advice? Absolutely not. I don't do that kind of thing. But I think you could rest assured that the price is going to go down a little bit more, and then it'll end up in the end. Lots of people talk about DCAing, dollar cost averaging, buying every day, and it doesn't affect you. There is that. Also, keep in mind that a couple years ago, Bitcoin was doing this, and we were worried that it was dropping to the high 20s. Dropping into the high 20s, dropping into the 30s, dropping into the 40s. Where will this bounce? I don't know. Some people are saying mid 60s. Some people are saying into the 40s. I don't know. I don't know. I would like it if it was it bounced at 81. That would be great. Bounce at 81 and pop to whatever in the. I have to assume. I have to assume that the next pop, the next bull run will land us above 150 and hopefully above 200. I don't know. That could be a pie in the sky, or it could be way undershooting. You don't know. With Orange Man enacting the Bitcoin strategic, I guess the crypto strategic reserve, but basically saying all the Bitcoin we've stolen from say the likes of Silk Road or drug busts or this or that, which is always a confusing. It's always a confusing thing to me because who the fuck gives up their private keys? First of all, they must have been dumb criminals. But regardless, anyway, they said they won't be selling any more Bitcoin. And there's also a mechanism in there for acquiring new Bitcoin or converting some of the shit coins they're going to hold into Bitcoin. And with the new standard, they won't be able to sell any. Hunter says, I wonder how much was on exchanges. Probably a lot of it. Criminals aren't that smart. Look at the assholes that stole 500,000 gallons of fucking maple syrup. I wonder if they traded it for Bitcoin. So that's probably gonna mess with the price. There's some other things going on. El Salvador, the IMF is basically telling El Salvador that you can't, that Bitcoin is bad and don't mess with too much of it anymore, or don't mess with it anymore if you want our help. And it sounds like El Salvador is just giving them the finger. I think they put that proclamation out, and within a few hours, Bukali literally bought more Bitcoin. So we'll see. I don't know where it's gonna go. I have no reservation that this is like the end of it. I'm not sweating that it's going to zero. I'm not sweating that that the 100 was the peak, the 118 or whatever it got to US. That's not the end of Bitcoin. It's the start. This is still the start. So we'll see. It's it might get worse. Probably, I should say, probably will get worse before it gets better. But that's where we're at. And the bull run should commence here anytime. It can commence anytime. Looking like we might end up getting our driveway installed this week. Excited about that. Talking to the guy that's going to put it in. He is hopeful at the end of this week, hopefully being able to get the trucks in there with the church, get his equipment in, get that done. I don't know. I looked at the forecast. There is quite a bit of rain in the forecast this week. We'll see. It was dried up pretty good the last time I went back there, but a little bit of rain and the condition of the road, it could change real quick, and getting dump trucks in and out on a slippery road with no chert for traction, can get rough. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. He might. I did notice the last couple times I was out that there was a big pile of chert. If you don't know what chert is, it's basically top dressing for clay roads that gives you a little traction. It's like class 5. Other places class 5. This is just what Tennessee has. It's chert. It's a rock. Basically, they lay that down on top of the clay. I noticed he had about a truckload probably staged out there, where I think he's going to spread it to give them traction to get back to where they need to dump our truckloads for our driveway. So we'll see. That might happen this week. That'll be cool, because then we can finally get on the wait list for getting our posts and roof put up. because I'm glad we didn't do that when we first got it quoted, because it was at that point it was 7 to 8 week turnaround, and we wouldn't have been able to get them in, and we would have went to the end of the list. So glad we waited till the driveway is going to be in, but as soon as it's in and we check it out and we make sure that we're all good to be driving up there to the site, we'll get on that list, and it'll be another 8 weeks, I think, probably. Hopefully not longer, maybe shorter, but 8 weeks was a pretty firm number for the wait list. So driveway possibly going in later this week. Let me see. Director Detour this week, guys. I got 3 good episodes coming up. Today released Michael Cole. Michael Cole is the CEO, founder, president of Next Level Technician. He was on an entrepreneur show called The Blocks. He was on as a contestant. He was on as a judge after he was on as a contestant. Excuse me. Basically, his business trains and staffs techs, fiber optic techs, structured cabling techs. He's in that niche. We talk about his start in the restaurant business. In the restaurant industry, went to school for restaurant management, and then somehow transitioned into training and staffing folks for structured cabling. That was a good chat with him. Tracy Brinkman was an interesting character. He's coming out on Wednesday. Yeah, you're going to want to listen to that one. He's the CEO of Dark Horse Consulting. Storied life for sure. Enjoyed the chat with him. And then Maddie Wagner at the end of the week. She is a consultant. Did I have a stroke? I don't know why. Did I have a stroke? What happened? I don't think I did. Pip says cheers. Good morning, Pip. Oh, I had a glitch. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Oh, talking art. No, I'm super tired. I don't know what's going on. Probably daylight savings, like Pip. It says he's running an hour late for some reason. Aren't we all? But anyway, if you guys got something you want to talk about, I got a few seconds here left. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up and get out of here. Oh, Maddie Wagner is a consultant for small businesses and entrepreneurs to basically teach folks how to not be tied to their business. Teach them how to outsource, teach them how to manage workflows, and get to things where you can step away from the business, because isn't that the end goal of owning your own business, is more free time and more time to do what you want and not be tied to that job. Maddie helps people figure out how to transition from being the everything to being, you get some time away when you need it. So definitely check out those. If you would check out Director Detour, it has its own spot on the Lots Project website now. Each episode is getting a blog post. If you could go and listen to the episode, like the episode, share the episode, or possibly share the blog post, I would appreciate that greatly. It's growing decent, and I definitely can tell when folks start sharing a particular episode, because the anomaly of downloads is blatantly obvious. So definitely check out those episodes. Share your favorite ones. Go back and find one you liked before on your podcast player. Share that. I haven't gone back and done the blog post for the episodes prior to transitioning to the website. Might or might not do those at some point, but everything going forward from, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, I started putting up a post. So plenty of places to find it, plenty of places to share it. I appreciate that. Beyond that, I got hopefully getting that driveway installed this week, getting caught up on some more stuff. product videos, get some of those out, and just plugging away. Lots of interviews this week. Back in December, January, I took some time off because I was hitting them pretty hard and got quite a bit ahead. And now I'm going to be in another one of those rushes for a couple weeks and knocking out March and into April. Actually, the rest of March and almost all of April I have scheduled so far for Director Detour episodes. So excited for that for sure. And with that, guys, I think I'm going to start wrapping up and get out of here. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I appreciate you hanging out. Links for what I talked about today down in the video description, and one link down there for sure that you might want to check out. It's gonna sneak up here pretty quick. Joshua Hale, the AI class that I took, a great investment for the cost. The stuff you're going to learn, the not necessarily the exact things you're going to learn. You're going to learn a ton of stuff, but the thought process that comes out of what you learn, I think, is the most valuable. And then the community around the challenge, it was fantastic for basically spitballing and hive think. So there's an AI challenge, beginner AI challenge. He's going to be coming up at the end of March. Another month-long thing, 10 minutes a day. It's not grueling by any means. It's literally 10 minutes a day, Monday through Friday for 4 weeks. It works really great, and then you get a ton of bonus information. So link for that down in the description. I'll get a little kickback if you sign up using my link. I appreciate that. Or if you know anybody that should be taking an intro AI class to get familiar with it, send them the link and have them sign up. Beyond that, I think it's just going to be another week, guys. I hope you have an awesome one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me. And make it a great week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.